everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I'm going to continue your same module, that is a new module we have started in the Monday's class, that is the quality systems in the IT, and we have discussed some PPT or something related to the quality, that is ISO in the PPT that is carried out with this one. So that is carried out with the quality system, quality system concept that is carried out with this one. Today I'm going to continue with the same module but with the PPT, the PDF. This is the quality system handbook. This is the fourth edition that is related to the ISO 9000, that is related to the David OS. So these are the various contents of this PDF. That is, first one is the introduction. Then there are basic concepts of the quality system. That is, what are the basic concepts that is available for the quality systems. For example, what are the various principles and definition of the qualities. Then what are the various interested parties that is available in the quality system scenario. That is used in this one. So these are the chapter that is discussed over here. The first part is the introduction, that is chapter number 1. That is information related to this one. That is the introduction, or the introduction, that is introduction of the quality system. What are the various quality system that is available. Then basic concepts. What are the basic concepts. Then role, origins and applications of ISO. We have discussed some parts of the ISO in the yesterday's class and in the Monday's class. So what is ISO and how the ISO will be maintained over here. That is the role, applications and origin of the ISO 9000. So this is ISO 9000 that is available. So this is the international standard organization that is used for the ISO concept, that is used for the international standard organization 9000. Then there is the exclusion, and then there is alternative structure that is available. Then certification to the ISO 9001 2000. And then chapter number 4 is the quality management system. That is, what are the various quality management system approaches that is available with or that is used in the quality management system. So that is a summary of the requirement. Then establishing a quality management system. Then identifying the processes. Then sequence and induction of the processes. So these are the various quality management system that is available with the quality concepts. Then documenting a quality management system. This is one of the important points, that how to maintain the documentation, or what is the documentation part that is used for the quality management system. Then documented procedures. Then document that ensures or that is used for the effective planning, operation and control of the processes. That is, what are the various effective planning concepts, and what are the various operations and control of the processes that is used for the documents. Then implementing a quality management system, that is how to implement a quality management system. Then managing the processes. Then ensuring the information availability, that is how the information will be available. Then ensuring the availability of the resources. Then maintaining the quality management system, control of the document, control of the records. These are the various terms that is used in the quality management system, that is chapter number 4. Then the chapter number 5 is the management responsibility. What are the management responsibilities, or what are the various requirements first of all of the management, and what are the various responsibilities that is carried out by the management responsibility. Then there is a resource management, that is how the resources will be managed, or how the resources will be available in this one. That is a resource management. That is a resource management concept. That is what are the various requirements, what is the summary of the requirement, what is the resource management that is used in this one. The next chapter number 7 is the product realization. That is how the product will be gain importance in the chapter number, or in the product criteria. That is chapter number 7. That is the product realization. Then measurement, analysis, and this one. So we will keep this. We can say that we will carry out this PDF very quickly, because these are the basic concepts. So chapter number 1, that is the introduction. So by 3 methods we may learn the wisdom, that is what are the various terms by which we can see the reflection. Second, by the limitation that is used in this one. So there is the perception, that is the ISO 9000 family standard. So there are multiple rules regulation that is carried out in the ISO 9000 that is used in 1987, that is cloned with the ISO 9000 that fulfill its promise. Now, how we think about the ISO 9000? It's a standard, and all the negative comments have nothing to do with the standards, but the way it has been interpreted by the organizations, consultants, and the auditors. So whosoever the consultants whosoever the auditors, whosoever the organization that is using the ISO 9000, that is interpreted by the organization, consultant, and the auditor. And to the critics, ISO 9000 is what it is perceived to be, and this tends to be the standard, and it supports infrastructure. That is, whatever the infrastructure, whatever the standard that is carried out, with the support infrastructure that is perceived to be the ISO 9000. This makes any discussion on the subject difficult and inevitably tend to the disagreement. So whatever the disagreement feature, whatever the difficulty phases that is carried out in the ISO 9000, that difficulty level will be carried out or will be phased out by the ISO 9000 as a system, as a principle, as a standard. Now, how we think about the quality management system, that is what we think about the quality management systems. So quality management system means how we manage the quality. And for managing the quality, there is a concept that is known as the ISO 9000 that comes into the picture. So before the ISO 9000, organization had found ways of doing things that work for them. We seem to forget that before ISO 9000, we have built the pyramids that create the mass production of the consumer goods. So whatever the consumer goods, whatever the barriers that is used, that put a man on the moon and brought him safely back to the earth. And it was organizational system that made these achievements possible. So that made make this achievement possible, that is a quality management system. And system with all their inadequacies and inefficiencies enabled mankind to achieve objective that until 1987 that completely revolutionized the society. That means it is used for the society, that is used by the ISO 9000, that did require the organization to establish a quality system as a means of ensuring product met specified requirements. So whatever the requirement of the product that is met by the ISO 9000 standards. And this is the way of doing things, and because the language used in ISO 9000 was not consistent with the language of their businesses. So whatever the language that is carried out, that is used with the ISO 9000 standards. And many people did not see the connection between what they did already and what the standard requires. So what is the standard and what the concept that is carried out? They do not know the concept. They do not know the concept that is used for the ISO 9000 standards. And people may think of the organization as a system, but they think don't do is manage as a system or manage the organization as a system. That means they do not see the things of the organization as a system, we can say the fluency things that is carried out. They fail to make the linkages between the actions and the effects, and will change one function without considering the effect of the others. This is the way we manage the business, that is the way we manage the system that is carried out by the SMS, EMS, QMS. So this is SMS, then there is a EMS, then there is a QMS. EMS is the environmental management system that is also a part of the ISO 9000 standards. And this is a separate system that these pieces need to be placed in to provide the assurance, that is what are the various management activities that is carried out in which the organization is represented as a circle. So this is the organization that is represented as a circle. This is the organization that is represented in a circle, and this need to be in place to run the business effectively and efficiently. And assurance equates with the provision of objective evidence, and this equates with the generation and maintenance of the documentation. So whatever the generation, whatever the maintenance of documentation, that is procedure record, that is carried out with the assurance concepts. However, ISO 9000 clause 4.2 required the suppliers to establish a quality system to ensure that product met the specified requirements. So whatever the requirement that is carried out, that is specified by the ISO 9001, that is used to ensure that the product met the specified requirement. In other words, it required the system to cause conformity with the requirement. So whatever the requirement that is carried out, that requirement will be confirmed by the various compliance, by the various documentation that is also a part of the ISO 9001 or ISO 9000 standard. As few people seems to have read ISO 8402, it is not surprising that the documents are perceived as a system. Documents are perceived as a system, And the quality system was defined. How we define the quality system? It is defined as the organization structure, procedure, processes, and resources needed to implement the quality management. That is the quality system. That is, what are the various organization structures, what are the various procedures, policies, processes, and the resources needed to implement the quality management. That is how we implement the quality management, how we gather the quality management, how we implement the quality structure, organization structure, procedures, processes, and resources that is needed to implement the quality management, that is not a set of the standards. The 1994 version required a system to be established and documented. It is using as a document which they require to be established as well as the documented. And there has also been a perception in the service industry that ISO 9000 quality only deal with the procedural aspect of a service and not the professional aspect. So this deal with the professional aspect also, professional aspect or the procedural aspect also. To achieve the quality, one has to consider both the product and the service. And a quality product delivered on time, within budget and within a smile remains a quality product. How we think about the certification, that is what are the or how we get the certification from the ISO. So when an organization choose not to pursue 9000 certification or not to retain the ISO 9000 certification, it should make no difference to the way the organization is managed. It is similar to the man who chooses not to take the course examination. This is the thing different, that the certification is very important in the ISO 9000 standards. And this in fact suggested that there are two approaches to use 9000, that is management motivated and the stakeholder motivated. These are the scope of the business, then scope of the quality system, then scope of the ISO 9000, the scope of the registration. Now, how ISO made us think about the quality. Why we are talking about the quality in the ISO 9000? The next part is how the ISO made us think about the quality. That is how we think about the quality. That is how the quality will be improved while we are taking about the ISO 9000 standards. Right? So ISO 9000 was conceived to bring out an improvement in the product quality. That means the quality will be improved because everyone get the ISO 9000 standard or the certification. So that think about the quality, that is the product quality. And it was believed that if the organization were able to demonstrate they were operating a quality system that met the international so whatever the international standards or whatever the that is that is carried out with the ISO 9000 standard, that is also a part of the ISO 9000. So we are talking about the quality, we are considering the quality concept, that is also part of the confidence in the quality of the product that they purchase. It was also believed that if we are using the quality, or if there is a quality concept that is using, so they were operating or they were operating a quality systems that met the international standards, customer would gain the greater confidence in the quality of the product they purchase. So whatever the quality, whatever the concept they are gaining, so they're gaining or they are making of the think of the quality or think about the quality that is taking out the product that they purchase. It was also believed that by operating in advance with documented procedures, error will be reduced and consistency of the output ensured. So whatever the output, whatever the input that is considered, that is considered as the input that is used to gain the requirements. The requirement of the standard were perceived to be a list of things to do to achieve quality. So whatever the standard that we are maintaining, whatever, for example, that may be ISO standard that is maintaining, that ISO standard will be perceived as a list of the things that is used to achieve the quality, that is achieved or that is required to be achieved as a quality procedures. and ISO coordinator would often draw up a plan based on the basic logic. So whatever the logic that is considered as an ISO coordinator, that would often draw up a plan that is based on the logic. Now, the first point is we have to identify the resource requirement. So I will write a procedure on identifying the resource requirement. So we have to identify what are the various requirement of the resources, or what are the various requirements, what are the various resource requirement that is carried out. So we have to identify the resource requirements. So I will write a procedure on identifying the resource requirements. We have to produce a quality plan. So I will write a procedure on producing the quality plans. So first of all, identify the resource requirement, then identify the or produce the quality plan. So I will write and procedure on producing the quality plans. So, and then we have to record the contract review. So I will write a procedure on recording the contract review. So first part is identify the resource requirements, then produce the quality plans, then record the contract review, then identify the design changes. So I will write a procedure on identifying the design changes, that is what are the various design or what are the various procedures to design or to identify what are the various changes that is available in the designing part, that is also a part of the design changes. The requirements in the standard were often not expressed as result to be achieved, and requirements for a documented procedures to be established that result in just like that, that is used to define the something rather to the achieve something, that is used to define something that is used rather to achieve something. That means defining the concept is very important, that is main objective of the procedure, and that led to the documentation. Because if I define something, that means there is a documentation part, there is a documenting objects that is used without any clear purpose that relate to the achievement of the quality. And as a quality assurance becomes synonymous with the procedure, that means as a quality, we are assuring about the quality, that the quality is very good, quality is very impacted, that becomes synonymous with the procedure. So people perceive that they could achieve the quality by the following procedures. And the standard requires a documented system that ensures the product met the specified requirement. So whatever the requirement of the standard, so whatever the requirement of the steps that is required or that is used for a documented system that ensures the product met the specified requirement, that is a clear purpose. So what is the clear purpose that is used for this one? Once again, the implementer lost sight of the objective that is used for this one. And another problem was that who were to implement the requirement were often excluded from the process. That is, who are the persons, whosoever is the person that is used to exclude the processes, that is used to exclude the processes. Instead of inquiring as to the best way of meeting a requirement, those in charge of the ISO 9000 implementation assumed that issuing procedures would in fact cause compliance with the requirement. So whatever the compliance, whatever the procedures that is carried out, that is used for the in charge of the ISO 9000 implementation. It requires a study of the way work gets done to appreciate how best to meet a requirement. That is, what is the best technique or what are the various procedures that is used to meet a requirement. Then the procedure was required to be documented and the range was discussed. That is, appropriate range was discussed, the complexity of the task. That is what ISO had to say about the procedures. And criticized that ISO did not enable the organization to produce the result that is available in this one. Now, how we think about the reviews, inspection, and the audit. That is, what is the review, what is the inspection, and what is the audit that is carried out in this one. So, if I'm talking about the audit, so audit of the quality system means identifying whether the things are correct or not. So, come back from the break. Now, let's start the session again. Hi, Joseph. How are you? Joseph, do you want to say something? Do you want to ask any query? Any query, Joseph? Okay, all right, Joseph. So the next session or the next topic that is available is how the ISO 9000 made us think about the quality. That is, what are the various quality concepts that is thinking about the ISO 9000 standards. So ISO 9000 was conceived to bring about an improvement. Yeah, I will send you the module, this PDF in the today's class after the class. All right, don't worry. So how the ISO made us think about the quality, that what are the various quality concepts that is carried out. So ISO 9000 was conceived to bring about an improvement in the product quality. That is, the quality will be improved by bringing the ISO 9000 standard. It was believed that the organizations were able to demonstrate that they were operating or they were operating a quality system. So they were operating a quality system that is carried out with the quality that met the international standards, and customers should gain the greater confidence in the quality of the product they purchase. That means the consumer have their interest in the product, in the qualities, in the customer, in the confidence, in the quality of the product they purchase. It was also believed that by operating in accordance with the documented procedure, that is, whatever the documented procedures, whatever the errors that will be reduced, and the consistency that will be maintained, that is used to ensure the output, that is used to ensure the data, that is used to ensure the consistency of the output ensured. And if you find the best way of achieving a result, put in place measures to prevent the variation. That is, what are the various variations that is used to achieve a result, that is used to gain the result, that is used to place a measures to prevent the variations, document it, and train the others to supply it. That means train the others so that the how the ISO standard will work, what are the various pre-consequences that is carried out for the ISO standards. That follows that the result produced should be consistently good. So whatever the product, whatever the goods, whatever the result that will be carried out, that will be carried out with the constant requirement, with the constantly good requirement. The requirements of the standard were perceived to a list of the things to do or to do to achieve the quality. So if I want to achieve the quality, that is perceived to be a list of the things to do a better quality, to achieve a better quality. And there is an ISO coordinator that would often draw up a plan that is based on the following logics. That is, if I want to identify the resource requirements, so I have to procedure, or I will write a procedure of identifying the requirements. Then these are the various reviews, inspection, and the audit. That is, what are the audit, what is the inspection? Audit means simply was supposed to determine the effectiveness of the course, but effectiveness seemed to be judged by the extent to which the procedures were being followed. That is the audit. That is, was supposed to determine the effectiveness of the product, effectiveness of the quality, effectiveness of the things, or effectiveness of the ISO 9000 standards. And ISO 9000 state that the file or system should be reviewed for its continuous suitability and effectiveness in satisfying the requirements of the standard. So this is used to check whether the standards are met with the requirement, whether the supplier quality policy are made with the objective or not. Then is ISO 9000 2000 any different? That means it is a different part. For this, we have to answer these questions that is required. That is, what are the various reviews, what are the inspection, and what are the audit. So for the continuous suitability and the effectiveness in satisfying the requirement of the standards and the supplier's quality policy and the procedure. So whatever the customers, whatever the system quality and the procedure that is carried out, that is used to satisfy the requirements of the standards and the supplier's quality process and the objective. The words underlined were added in the 1994 revision, that is carried out with the 1994 revision, and clause 4.17 that is available, that did require the internal audit to verify whether the quality activities and related results comply with the planned arrangement or not. So whether the quality activities are comply or are used with a planned arrangement or not, and to determine the effectiveness of the quality system. To determine the effectiveness of the quality system, that is how effective the quality will be managed, how effective the planned document will be managed, to determine the effectiveness of the quality system. Again, the words underlined were added in the 1994 revision, but the original and the modified wording seem to have had no effect. There is no effect in this one, and there is a quality system that is continued to be judged on the product monoconformities, audit finding, and the customer complaint. So whatever the customer complaint that is carried out with the quality systems. Now, this is one of the important points, that is the management review, that was supposed to question the validity of these procedures. So whatever the procedures, whatever the quality, whatever the improvement of the quality, that quality will be maintained, that quality will be questioned, the validity of these procedures and the validity of the standards and the performances of the systems. It was supposed to determine whether the system was effective or not. That is, whether the system enabled the person to do the right things right. That means if I'm using any system, whether that system will be right or not. This is also one of the challenge. This is also one of the right. This is also one of the management review that is used to question the validity of these procedures, complaints, criteria that is explain the criteria, that explain the documentation part, quality part, everything that is available that is used to determine whether the system was effective or not. But effectiveness was not interpreted as doing the right thing. That means if I'm saying that it is the system is capable of doing everything, that means that does not mean that it is very effective. That means the effectiveness are not interpreted as doing the right thing. It was interpreted as conforming to the standard. So if I'm saying the system is doing the right thing, that means that system is not effective. No, but the system is effective when it meets its standards. Whatever the rules, regulation, whatever the standard that is maintained, the standards will be maintained as a conforming to the standards. It led to the quality being thought of a conformity with the procedures. The reviews and audits therefore focused on the deficiencies against the requirements of the standards and deviation from procedure rather than the result the system was achieving. So whatever the result the system was achieving, that results will be the procedures, or that results will be the results of the system that was achieved. But as the system was not considered to be the way the organization achieved its result, it was not surprising that totally inadequate management review continued in the name of keeping the bag on the wall. That means they are keeping the badge on the wall, that is keeping the badge on the wall in the management review techniques that is continued in the name of keeping the badge. And audits does not or did not establish that people were doing the right things. That means whatever the audit techniques, whatever the auditing that does not or that did not establish that people were doing the right things, had they done so, the system would have been changed to one that caused people to do the right thing. That means audit is only done to consider the effectiveness. And what is effectiveness? Whether the standards are maintained or not. So it is the one who carried out whether the standards are maintained or not that caused the people to do the right things in the right direction without having to told. That means if I'm saying to you to write down the or do the assignment, that I'm not telling you that what is the system of writing the assignment, how you write the assignment, what are the various procedures to write the assignment. No, 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 no. I'm not saying anything. You are supposed to do each and everything. My task is to evaluate the assignment whether the assignments were good or not. And it was often thought that the standard required review, approval, inspection. So whatever the approval, whatever the inspection that is carried out, that is used for the approval, that is used for typing the result, that is used for maintaining the data, that is used to pursue other than finding the error. That means whenever there is audit, that means acquiring, that means standard requires review, approval, inspection, and the audit activities to be performed by the personnel dependent of the critics argue that as a consequence, both workers and the inspector assumed other would find the error. That means other would find the error in this one. That means other would get the error, other would find the error in getting the response, in taking the response from the ISO 9000 that does not dependent or independent inspection. There is no independent inspection that is carried out, but the inspection will be carried out on the activities or the procedure that will be used in the activities. And there is no requirement that prohibits a worker from inspecting his or her work or approving from his or her document. It is a management that choose a policy of not delegating the authority for accepting the result. So it is a policy, it is a management review that tells what you are doing. What is the task that tells me the doing, or that is a task that is used to carry out the result. That is also one of the category, or that is also one of the authority that is used for accepting the results, for getting the result to those who produce them. Now, what organization could have done, security will be compromised or will be compromised by the other. So whatever the security, whatever the data that is available, the data will be available within the data, that data will be available to done the concepts, to tell the concept, first the concept is using, whatever the concept that we are using for getting the data done. So there is an authority that is used for accepting the results. So there will be proper policy authority that is used to those who produce them. And there will be circumstances when the independent inspection is necessary. either as a blind check or when the safety precautions will be compromised by the error. Now, what organization could have done? And this would have met ISO 9000 requirement that is used to let the worker decide on the need for independent inspection, except in the special cases. So whatever the inspection, that may be independent inspection, that may be a special inspection that is carried out with the worker that decide on the needs of the independent inspection except in the special cases. Now, is ISO 9000-2000 any different? That means, is the ISO 9000-2000 any differ? That means, any difference in the ISO 9000-2000? So there are those who want to believe that the standard has not changed very much and do not believe it has changed in its intent, and as a consequence they do not have to change their approach. That means everything is same, every portion is same, but the change is only the some standards, some policies will be changed in the ISO 9000 and the 2000. The sad thing is that if the standard is perceived as not having significantly changed, it will continue to be or break havoc by being interpreted and used in the same appropriate way that it has been for the last 14 years. That whatever the criteria, whatever the term that is used, that is used for the significant changes, that is used to continue be, that is used by the interpreted result, that is used in some inappropriate way that it has been for the last 14 years. But there is another way. By looking at the ISO that is used as a framework upon which can be built as a successful organizations. So if I'm talking about the ISO 9000, so there will be a significant transition that will be carried out. There will be a significant benefit that can be gained, and there are real benefits from managing the organizations as a set of interconnected processes. There are multiple benefits. There are real benefit. Real means the live benefits from managing the organization. So whenever you manage the organization, there are real benefits from managing the organizations as a set of the interconnected processes that focus on achieving the objective that have been derived from an understanding of the needs of the customer and other interested parties. So whatever the interest, whatever the objective that will be carried out, that objective will be carried out with the derived object that is used to gain the understanding of the needs of the customer and other interested parties. In the next chapter, so that means there are multiple parts by which we can look. There are multiple changes that is carried out between the ISO 9000 and the 2000. And in the next chapter, that is in the tomorrow's class, you will get, or we will get the reacquaint with the concepts. What are the various concepts that is used with the ISO? What are the various mistakes that we are carrying out about the ISO standard? That may be a 9000, 9001, and any standard that will be maintained to repeat the task of the past. But first, let us summarize the key messages from chapter number 1. So let us summarize what are the various key messages from the chapter number 1. In this chapter, we have examined the various perception about the ISO 9000. That means in this chapter, we have talked about the various perception, various concepts about the ISO 9000 and its infrastructure. And these have arisen from personal observations. There are multiple personal observations, discussion with the client, colleagues, whatever the scenario that I'm using, that scenario will be carried out. The scenario will be carried out with the standard, that studying the zone contribution in the case of the ISO 9000. And where appropriate, the perception are challenged from a basis on what the standard actually requires. So what the standard actually requires, that is also standard. Whether appropriate, perception are challenged on the basis of the standard executions. Now, there is no excuse for the resultant confusion. So there is no excuse for the resultant confusion. And the standards could have been better written, but it is unfair to put all the blame on the standard. So it is unfair to put all the blame on the standard that is written in the form. And the standard bodies, certification bodies, accreditation bodies, training providers, consultants, but whatever the scenario, whatever the business, whatever the tool, or whatever the standard body that is using, that is carried out with the ISO 9000 standards. And many other have contributed to this confusion, and commercial interests have an usual comprised quality. We are followed like sheep, pursued goals without charging or without challenging whether they are the right goals or not. Now, ISO have been put together the concept that is applied in the organization for many years, not some unique concept of management and only exists to put a badge on the goal. So whatever the badge, whatever the concept that is carried out with the ISO 9000 standard, that is using the concept that has been applied in the organization for many years. But it appears that the use of international standards to consolidate and communicate these concepts has not has been effective as believed it would be. That means we have to maintain the ISO 9000 standards so that every organization has some standards. So that it means there are some rules regulations that is carried out with the organization. For example, if I'm talking about my organization, that is Mercury Solutions. It is ISO certified. That means it has some rules regulations. For example, it has, if there is any challenge that a student face, so student have to have the information to get the RTI, that is the right to information about these challenges, about these concepts, about these management that is available. And all we can hope for this ISO 9000, which is the bar enough to make enable more organization to satisfy the more customers. The same point that we have discussed, that I discussed yet we said, that means the main organization of the or main task of the organization is to satisfy more customer, more customer, more customer, and do not less harm to the and do less harm to the society. Now the next part or the next topic, next chapter is here. Chapter number 2, that is what are the basic concepts that is used in the quality management system. That is the principle and the perception. That is the first topic that I'm going to discuss in the tomorrow's class. And this chapter is related to the basic concept of this. So that's all from my side in the today's class. I will mail this PDF right now to the students. And if there is any other doubts, you can ask the doubts from me. So thanks a lot everyone, and we will meet tomorrow with the chapter number 2, that is the basic concept. Any doubts, Joseph? Anything? If there is no doubt, then it's okay. Bye bye.